taking three.
Going for the St. Louis now.
Oh no!
Son of a bitch.
You get your two?
Yeah. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course, and today we are looking at a replay submitted by one of our subscribers, Alexi. Alexi is actually also a member of NGA, Navy Gaming America. Don't forget there is a link in my video section below if you wish to join the clan. So we're taking a look at Alexi here. We can see he's on Hotspot, and as well he's in his Hatsuharu. Interesting to note about the Hatsuharu, apparently on World of Warships stats.com, Hatsuharu is listed as my key warship. Which is interesting considering I play mostly cruisers, but don't get me wrong, I do actually love this little destroyer. I think this is a great destroyer, a tier 7, really, really good stuff. Now, obviously it's a great destroyer in terms of stealth torpedoing, right? That's the main purpose of this Hatsuharu here, and how you really want to try and play her. Now, taking a look at where Alexi is headed, he's going down the east side here, right? Started on the east, going to go down here. Typically, this is a good place for destroyers to go, either down this side, maybe in and amongst the islands. It's a little risky in and amongst the islands because, the ranges get really close. We have a friendly Kagero off in the distance who is clearly shooting torpedoes off. It's something he may or may not have seen. Okay, alright, Alexi's going to get himself into position to start supporting the Kagero, helping out with this side, right? Basically, if these two destroyers can work together, you can more or less deny the enemy this side of the map, especially considering you've got two Japanese destroyers defending more or less this side, right? So Alexi spots the enemies off in the distance as well, starts lining up torpedoes on the enemies. Now, I believe the enemy he's lining up right now is a York. I think there were two cruisers over here that he was first spotting and lining up on. So okay, we see them off there in the distance. There's the Kagero there. He just stopped reloading torpedoes to see if any of his torpedoes are going to actually hit, while Alexi gets himself into position to start lining up torpedoes on these guys, giving it wide spreads just in case the guys happen to move around, or rather the captains move around. Just to ensure that maybe one torpedo is going to hit something, right? So torpedoes are away. We're now driving away. Obviously, very, very basic tactic with your Japanese destroyer. Launch your torpedoes and get away. Because even though you might not be spotted through all of this, the enemy might have a general sense as to where you may be, especially if they have the torpedo spotting ability. Right, they may be able to see that, extrapolate where you're from based on where you launch the torpedoes. Anyway, torpedoes are on their way, and blam, yes. We did actually manage to take out and hit an enemy Kagero. I think it was an enemy Kagero, anyway. Enemy destroyer that was never actually seen. Yeah, we never saw him. Alexi manages to get the nice, lucky torpedo hit there, takes him out, gets first blood and devastating strike for it. And as a bonus to all that, he also got a nice torpedo hit on one of the Yorks out there. So fantastic. That is always a great surprise to see. Enemy York is now gone, so we have two enemy ships remaining that we can see over here. Taking a look at the map as well, you can see that the Allied team is doing a pretty good job. Now, before we go too far into this, right, and start singing the praises of Alexi here, it's important to note that the team in this battle really, really paid off. Alexi says it as well in the email he sent me. This almost renews faith in the World of Warships gaming community, right? Just based on how well these people, this group of people were working together, how considerate they were as well, which is really surprising. Anyway, we've got a rune off in the distance. We can see him over there. We launched some torpedoes off at him. Maybe those might hit. Who knows? But we're going to circle ourselves around, get into position to maybe launch some more torpedoes if need be. We can see the rune over there. I actually can't wait to get the rune. I think it looks just amazing, aesthetically very pleasing. In fact, I find that about all of the German ships so far. I just find they look so spectacular. Really starting at tier 5 with the Königsberg. I think the Königsberg looks really good. The Nuremberg as well, right up. The York looks pretty bitchin', I thought anyway. Admiral Hipper definitely looks awesome. The Rune looks awesome, and the Hindenburg definitely looks awesome. But anyway, torpedoes that were on the way to the Rune, they have all missed. So the Rune was able to avoid all of those. So alright, we gotta circle back around, gotta try and do something about the Rune here as well. You'll notice though that Alexi does have good support, right? Bringing it back to the teamwork that is going on here in this battle. Alexi has a number of enemy ships, or sorry, allied ships behind him that are helping to put damage and to put shots into the enemy ships that are coming up this east side. So you'll notice that second York is now dead. Yes, he's gone. Don't need to worry about this guy anymore. It's just really the rune that we have remaining over here that we can see, right? So more torpedoes off of the rune, and again, obviously getting out of the way. Not sticking around to let the rune, or to give the rune a general sense as to where you may or may not be. You can see the Kagero off in the distance is more or less dueling it out with the rune right now. Unfortunately for the Kagero, he has been spotted and is now engaging the rune with guns. Now this would normally be, a fairly bad idea. However, the Kagero does have support from his allies in the background, so if need be, it's something you could do. And right now, the Kagero is holding his own, right? That crafty rune managed to dodge another torpedo spread. So okay, we need to get ourselves lined up, turned around, so we can get another spread off at this rune. Get this rune gone. It's a pretty big threat. Not only to the destroyers that are in the area, like the Kagero, and to Alexi himself, but also to the other allied ships around. Really, want to try and do something about this guy. Get this guy gone as quick as we possibly can. You'll notice that there is a Colorado off in the distance, so we need to keep an eye on this guy, right? It's very possible that if we launch torpedoes, we might actually hit the friendly Colorado, so we want to avoid that. Now, Alexi does put his torps out into the water based on where the indicator suggests that the rune will be, right? Once those torps are in the water, assessing the situation, taking a look, immediately alerting the Colorado captain to the fact that there are torpedoes in the water. You should take evasive action, and sorry in advance, right? I do this all the time as well. I might launch one torpedo, spread off, and go, oh crap, there's an ally right there, and like, holy crap, buddy, watch out, I'm so sorry. The ally actually does manage to avoid the torpedoes, which is fantastic, but it's always nice to put in a sorry there, right? Now the rune's luck has run out. The rune is now dead. Fantastic. Alexi manages to finish him off with 2 other torpedo strikes. Excellent. The rune does get off some torpedoes though and takes out the Colorado. So pretty tragic, I suppose. Could have used that extra battleship, but whatever. Whatever. Doesn't matter. We still have some great people left remaining on this team. Still doing their all right to try and get victory here. Over there on the west, they are still duking it out with the enemy ships over there, and they're not doing that bad of a job. They're managing to stay alive, managing to put pressure on the enemy on the west. This affords the time on the east to push up a little more, right? We've talked about before, you do want to maintain your situational awareness in the battle. If you notice that one side is bogged down defending, well then obviously it's going to be the other side that needs to now push. These two situations, whether or not you're defending or whether or not you're pushing, right? Those are interchangeable and can change at any time in the battle. Very important to keep your situational awareness so that you recognize the changes and react accordingly, obviously. So a few enemy ships remaining, right? Alexi's going to start pushing down south, deep into the south, to see what he can do about getting some of these guys gone. Now, there are enemy planes in the air, so this is why Alexi is spotted, so that kind of sucks. It was the fighter there from the rune. Up pops a Benson. Okay, now the Benson is a fairly difficult target, we'll say. Especially for a Tier 7 destroyer to deal with, a Japanese destroyer to deal with. This Benson is very, very difficult to deal with. He has a great rate of fire, great maneuverability, and that's really the biggest thing here for the Hatsuharu to deal with, is the rate of fire of the guns. The Hatsuharu has cannons on her, but they're defensive only, right? Really gotta watch when and how you use them. So putting shots into the Pensacola off in the distance. Now you'll notice that Alexi has come to a stop. He has popped his smoke. The Pensacola and the Benson are both focused on the Kagero, so don't really have to be too concerned about whether or not these ships are going to turn around and start putting shots into you. And in fact as well, Alexi isn't spotted, so fairly safe maneuver here as well. Now unfortunately, the Benson, I do believe the Benson has taken out the Alec Kagero right now. Yes, he has. So the Benson is still out there. We still have a Pensacola out there as well. It's really these 2 remaining enemy ships that you have to deal with, or that they're going to have to deal with on this east side. So we need to get ourselves into position to start putting a little pressure on these guys. Maybe get these guys gone. Biggest threat here obviously is the Benson, so we want to try and do something about this guy. Now, because of the plane in the air, Alexi does become spotted, which kind of sucks. Knocks out his engines, but not necessarily that big of a deal. Alexi immediately repairs it, gets himself into position to start taking on these enemy ships. Also important to note that he changed course as soon as he no longer became spotted, which, as we learned in some of the Ever Wonder episodes, is always a good idea because the enemy ships may still be able to blind kill you, right? And that always sucks. We caught a glimpse of the enemy Benson there off in the distance. Now the enemy Benson is burning right now, so if we can take advantage of that, that would be excellent. So there he is there. Actually, he's not burning, managed to put out the fire, but immediately start putting shots into the Benson, right? When he's on this low health, it's not going to take a whole lot to actually finish off this Benson. You'll notice the allies in the team chat there are like, whoa, you know, be careful. Don't want to mess this one up. No concern though. I mean, Alexi is a skilled player here, so fairly confident in his ability to get rid of the Benson. And in fact, there he goes. Benson is gone. Now we're up to 3 kills. The Benson, though, did get some final shots into Alexi that managed to take out some of his... well, it took out some important modules there. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, it doesn't matter, right? Alexi repairs it. Now, Pensacola fires at Alexi, and Pensacola takes out Alexi's steering. So now Alexi has no choice but just to continue forward. It wouldn't really be beneficial to stop at this time because, again, you know, rudder's jammed, you can't turn, so you're not going to be able to line up torpedoes. Plus, the Pensacola is coming straight at you, so you don't want to stop, be seen by this Pensacola, and have the Pensacola start pelting you with high explosive 8-inch shells. That would be tragic. Only 2 enemy ships remaining. You'll see that the allies on the west, they have done it. They managed to push, or, you know, to stop the enemy push over there. Over here on the east, we're going back to basically the defensive. I don't even know if we'd call it the defensive. There's not enough ships remaining, right? 2 enemy ships remaining to really say that it's a defensive. It's really just, you know, self-preservation at this point in time. Alexi can't maneuver. Well, he can now because he finally was able to repair it, but can't maneuver, so there's no real point in trying to stick around and quote-unquote defend this side. Now it's just a matter, right, of getting the Pensacola gone, maybe regrouping with the allies. We can see that the allies are actually on their way over to Alexi, so that's fantastic. And we're going to try lining up a few torpedoes here on this Pensacola, see what we can do about getting this guy gone, especially as he comes around this little island here. This is a great ambush, you know, play here. The Pensacola doesn't see you. Probably knows that you're around, though, to be fair, right? Probably knows and probably is kind of aware, like, hey, look, I should probably maneuver around a bit. But in this situation, doesn't work out for the Pensacola very well. Keep in mind, too, that typically Pensacola is going to be outfitted for AA, right? They're going to have their AA ability on. They're not necessarily going to have acoustic sonar, so that's always beneficial as well. Only thing you have to be concerned about is whether or not the captain has the spotting of torpedoes. That ability, right? If he does, we'll shortly find out here. We'll know that he has spotted the torpedoes, but in this situation, he actually doesn't. No. So, Allied ships are continuing to move towards Alexi. Now, the Pensacola has managed to dodge this torpedo strike, right? Managed to weave his way through both those spreads, and he's still going. So, okay, all right, this guy's a little more crafty than maybe just the normal straight line player. So taking a look, sizing up the target once again. You know, again, keeping in mind that when you're doing this, you also want to sort of get into the mindset of the enemy ship, right? Where is the enemy ship going to be once your torpedoes hit it, right? And that's obviously what the lead indicator does. But as well, you know, trying to think, is the enemy going to turn, right? Are they going to go south, maybe try and defend the base? There is still 1 enemy ship remaining, an enemy battleship. It's a Nagato. Although, you may have seen it in chat already, Nagato is AFK. We don't actually have to worry about the Nagato, no. He's AFK, so that's kind of tragic for the enemy team, but it works out very well for Alexi and his team. So shots going into the Pensacola from the Allied ships that we have remaining. We can see the Iowa right there. So that is fantastic because now if Alexi can just get 1 torpedo hit onto the Pensacola, Pensacola will be dead. Oh, look at this. Torpedo's on its way, manages to take out the Pensacola, and he is gone. Now Alexi is at 4 kills. Fantastic. bringing it back to the team. It's at this point in time that, anyone on 4 kills would be thinking, I really want that Kraken, right? Want the Kraken, gotta get the Kraken. 9 times out of 10, the ally ships you have remaining, they don't give 2 shits about how far away you are from the Kraken, whether or not you actually want the Kraken. They're just about, getting the enemies killed as quickly as possible to get the victory so they can jump into the next battle and do the same thing again, right? Not this team. This team was very surprising. They recognize that Alexi is actually, 1 kill away from the Kraken. If he can kill the Nagato, he has Kraken. And they actually suggest to him, go ahead and take it. It's yours. I don't need any battleship kills this time, right? Challenges I'm working on to get the kill, so it's yours. Go and take it. Fantastic, right? And this does not happen very often at all. 9 times out of 10, like I said, the allies that you have are very greedy. Now, this is not to say that I'm not greedy. I am also greedy. Right? We've seen it other Ever Wonder episodes. What happens when I get greedy? But anyway, that's typically what you would find. Is the enemy team or the allies would just be like, no, right? Or just not acknowledge it at all and just be like, well, if you manage to kill him before I get there and kill him, fine, it's yours. But if not, it's mine, type thing, right? Yeah. Refreshing to see that this didn't happen. Now, Alexi's making a beeline straight towards the enemy base. Alexi also has no idea where the Nagato is. Someone in chat did mention that even though the player's AFK, it's still a violation of the rules to give away his position, and it's true. It is a violation of the rules to give away the position like that, and it's nice to see the sportsmanship of the people here, right? They don't actually do it. They don't say where the enemy is. They just happen to mention that, if I did, be a violation. Alexi, being an upstanding player as well, he doesn't ask for it. Neither does anyone on the ally team. They don't ask, where is your Nagato? Alexi's taking a chance by saying and thinking that, well, he might just be spawned right at the enemy base. At the very least, if he's not here, Alexi will be in a position to start capping the enemy base, right? And capping an enemy base is always beneficial because it gives you experience and money, which is, really what we're after when we're playing these random battles like this. Enemy Nagato pops up. Excellent. We know the Nagato is here now. Now it's just a matter of putting torps into this guy, finishing him off, getting the battle over, right? Hopefully as well, getting the Kraken. Add that Kraken to our first blood and to our devastating strike. Give us the 5 kills. It'd be amazing, right? Plus, more damage done. So fantastic. Now, while all of this was going on, obviously the allied ships are still making their way down to the enemy base here, right? The Iowa, I think it's a Tashkent, is the destroyer that's remaining. They're both coming down here. They're both going to start putting shots into the Nagato here, which is great because, it just makes sure that when Alexi gets into position with his torpedoes, it'll ensure that, he actually does get the kill, rather than maybe seriously damage the Nagato and then someone comes in and steals that kill. Although with this team, I wouldn't expect them to actually steal the kill. I would fully expect them to just stop firing and give it to Alexi, if that actually happened. So we're driving a straight line at the Nagato. Now this is something that I was curious about actually. I was wondering, even though the Nagato is AFK, will his secondary batteries still fire? I was thinking about it, watching Alexi get a little closer here. As Alexi gets closer, the secondary batteries don't actually fire. I was curious to know why. I think that this player never actually connected to the battle, so the ship is here, but it's not a matter of the player connecting and being AFK, right, having to go and do something in real life. I think it's a matter of just being disconnected, so the secondary batteries don't actually fire at Alexi, which I thought was surprising. Now, obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, right? Maybe the ship actually has to be moving for secondary batteries to work. I don't know, but I was just really surprised to see that they weren't firing at Alexi. So we're moving in here for the death blow, right? Nagato is on fire, nothing can be done. We can see secondary batteries aren't firing. Alexi fires off both torpedo spreads for good measure, just to make sure that those hit and take out the Nagato. Shots go in, Nagato dies, and we get ourselves a Kraken and another devastating strike. Fantastic. That was a great replay. And Alexi managed to get the Kraken Unleashed, which is always great. So taking a look at over our results, first blood, Kraken Unleashed, 2 devastating strikes. torpedo hits, over 300,000 credits, lots of experience, different things earned here at the end of the battle, which was very nice to see. Looking at overall team results, now Alexi is top of his team overall, more than double the points of the highest earning enemy on the enemy team as well, so that is fantastic, and in fact almost 3,000 base experience, so not too shabby at all. Damage done was excellent as well to see. No issues here at all. So this was a great replay. Thank you so much for submitting it, Alexi, and hopefully you guys can take a look at this and see, yeah, there is a bit of hope at the end of the tunnel, right? There are teams that will want to work with you. There are teams who value a bit of teamwork here. Anyway, that is today's video. I do thank you all very much for watching it through. Hit the old like button if you did like today's video. Leave any comments for me you have in the comment section below. Love reading those and responding back to them. Hit subscribe if you are not a subscriber. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.